Hello, welcome everyone to the next episode of the podcast. This time we're going to talk about the Gatti, our central piece of technology. We have invited none other than Chris Ash from For The Player to see how that has helped them in their company rollout. So please listen in.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode in the What's Up Yggdrasil series of podcasts. My name's Stuart Darkin, I'm Director of New Media at Square in the Air. Today we're going to be talking about the Gatti product and how Yggdrasil makes that available to some of its partners. For this call we're joined by quite a large group from Yggdrasil. That includes Fred, Bjorn, Christoph and Camille. And we have an external perspective coming from Chris Ash at For The Player. Gents, if you could each just take 30 seconds or a minute just to tell our listeners what it is that you do, I'd be grateful. And maybe we could start with you, Fred.
All right, let's see if I know what I do. Hi, my name is Fred. I'm a founder, director, CEO of Yggdrasil. I've been in the industry since 2006. Started sports betting first, and then went into casino. I've been there since 2009. And I'm gonna enjoy this session.
So my name is Björn Krantz. I'm responsible for global market operations at Yggdrasil. So we are responsible for driving sustainable long-term revenue growth through a well-defined customer and market operations strategy. Our unit have a 360 view on the revenue ecosystem and how we can impact that revenue ecosystem in a positive and sustainable way.
Hi, this is Chris. I've been with Yggdrasil for almost 7 years on different positions, but always close to product and technology.
Hi, my name is Camille. I joined Yggdrasil quite recently, about a year and a half. I basically picked up Gatti project from its inception, and I'm responsible for development of it, and the shape of it. And I'll be my goal here during this meeting is to basically present you Gatti from the technical side by programming it live.
Hi, Chris Ash. I have also been around this industry for a number of years, maybe even as many as 20. I currently am business development director of For The Player, which is a master's partner and studio. And previously I had another business called Ash Gaming, and also ran Playtech Open Platform for a number of years some time ago.
Camille, can I come back to you if I may? There's something you're going to be doing during this conversation, during our session here, over the next hour or so. What are you going to be working on while we're talking?
Yeah, so basically what I'm going to show you here is basically how quick and simple it is to use our Gatti platform and leverage all the unique solutions that we're offering that we're going to talk about today. So yeah, I'm going to do live coding, and hopefully by the end of this call you'll see how simple it is.
Okay, thanks so much. I look forward to it. We'll check in with you later if that's okay.
Yeah, okay. Thanks.
Fred, if I can turn to you now, for those familiar with game development kits such as they are, tell us why Gatti is different and how you came up with the idea.
Sure, I'll do that. First and foremost, the Gatti is, the abbreviation is Game Adaptation Tools and Interfaces. Because it's not just a GDK, and I think that's the reason why it has this kind of a more of a different kind of name, and it basically is what we have done is that we've taken all the adaptation we are doing for our integration for the regulated markets, because there are some custom integrations as well for some of the biggest operators in the world. Let's say PokerStars, they don't just offer a standard API, or they take your API they have a set of rules for them that everyone have to adhere to, and they're not the only ones. There's plenty of those out there, and there's customizations for regulated markets that are occurring on a regular basis. And we basically taken all of that and created a standard around that, and that is what we're offering to our partners, for them to be able to access all the regulated markets that we're in and all the customers that we have integrated to. So that solves a bit of a headache, I would say. There's a lot of heavy lifting that we have packaged into one set of tools and interfaces. And the reason, how did we come up with this from the beginning? Was it altruistic to help everyone else? Well, in one way, yes, it was. Because if we take a couple of steps back, we have decided through analysis of the market and where things were going, we saw a lot of creative talent out there in the market, such as Chris Ash. They've done a race before, they want to do it again, and there was other like this. And there's talented people that was maybe do an exit or maybe leave to set up a new shop. We said these guys will not need to do the heavy lifting again. Let's provide them with these tools and interfaces for them to access this and grow rapidly. And we can be the enabler of this instead. So we want to enable creativity, and that was the original idea behind the YG Master program. So we started with the YG Master program, and the proof of concept was to see if it could work in a collaboration. We had to change a bit of our operational flow, and we started pretty quickly, because this was pre-Gatti, right? So we started pretty quickly realize, okay, we have something here in the collaboration with the partners, but we also noticed that we cannot be the bottleneck of building the game server, because we said we don't want to have any bottlenecks for the operators. It needs to be certified and coming as a part of the roadmap. So what do we do? And I basically sat down with Krzysztof, was on the call, and he did some thinking, going back and forth and thinking and so forth, and then he came back and he started to explain. You know what? I think we have something here. And I was like, is it a wrapper? No, it's not that. What is it? This? And I was like, no, it's not that. I was like, Chris, what is it? And we started to go through that, and all of a sudden we said, hey, this is bigger than a GDK. This is bigger than a wrapper. This is a set of tools and interfaces for this. And hence we started to package that and test it with a few partners. And then we realized, hey, this is going to be a very, very scalable thing forward. We're going to solve a lot of stuff for the entire aggregation model, which we knew through my friend Stuart, who was on a previous call on Masters. We knew that had faced some challenges in terms of scalability, and we knew that Gatti would be the kind of the wormhole, so to say, where studios come in and they being quickly coming to market. And we see it working because we see studios coming in, and you heard them previously in the podcast, and they see volumes coming that they haven't seen before with ease of work. So I'm very, very happy about this. And I think that was it for today. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, that was my intro.
You talked, Fred, about the creation process and about your conversations with Christoph. I wonder what the timelines are here in terms of Gatti, where we are on the journey.
Whoa, you know what? COVID mixed up my timeline, so I'll tell you that.
And everyone.
But I would say that we were pretty good at from discussing it as a problem and seeing it, the concept and saying, yeah, let's go for it. That was it was a very, very quick decision. It was a no-brainer for the board to support this. It was also a lot was in the architecture, how it's going to work. So we knew it's not going to be a huge development project, but it's going to be development, but there's a lot of smartness going in there, a lot of cleverness in architecture and development. And you know what? I think the best guys to answer that is Krzysztof and Bjorn, that's seen this one as well.
Bjorn, Fred has talked about some of the benefits of Gatti, and I'd like to separate out the benefits for the studio and also for Yggdrasil. So I'd be grateful if you could clarify that for us.
Clarify that. Yeah, sure. Gatti is a unique and disruptive technology, standardized technology that offers the highest level of, I would say, efficiency, scalability, and also security, and that comes, of course, with a number of benefits. And I mean, what Fred outlined here, it's a big thought process on problem solving for the markets and operators and for onboarding that has been going into building Gatti and developing Gatti, of course, with Christoph, that is part of this call as well, and is also one of the founders of the concept. But if we are looking at the business benefits per se, Gatti is a pre-configured regulatory-ready toolkit built, as I said, on standard technology. So, I mean, when the studio game developer is accessing or building the game into Gatti, it also get the game in a set of compliance standards and also compliance with responsible gaming principles. And also mentioned here, when you develop a game into Gatti, it also solves the problem on certain operator requirements. So it really is shortened because of the tools and documentation and automatic testing that exist in Gatti. The development time is really increasing from, let's say, a normal development cycle. And Christoph can confirm this, but I believe that we have seen approximately a 30% reduction in development lead time, which I think is just amazing. Gatti as a benefit, also technology is also language agnostic, which allow any type of master's partner to use their preferred technology stack. And I think that is really, really important here also for us being able to work with a variety of master's partners that offers a certain innovation and irrespective if they are programming, in Java or C# or C++, Gatti will handle it. And from an IP protection perspective, I believe that thanks to the use of certain Docker, what we call Docker containers here, third parties cannot access the game engine or the game server code. So it's a very, very secure box, which also adds a lot of, let's say, trust and confidence values in Gatti. And all this together is then helping us to offer a better time to market or commercialization of games that is then accessed or ported over Gatti into our global markets and customers. So the guys that is coming in and use Gatti now, they have immediate access to our regulatory markets. It's just amazing. We don't do, market per market. We handle a certification and the preparation for all the roadmap work that we have in cooperation with our partners to again onboard the game that is developed and ported through Gatti and making that available into our customers and market channels. So it's a lot of great benefits that comes with it.
Something else I heard a lot of there was Christoph's name, and they're heaping the pressure on you, Christoph. We have Camille working against the clock to produce something we can look at the end of our conversation today. Christoph, as the guy behind the concept, how easy is it to use Gatti?
Yeah, I mean, we touched a lot of important points and a lot of important USPs of Gatti, but I think it actually boils down to what Fred said, that Gatti is not GDK. Gatti is not trying to force you into some kind of development standards, or it is not trying to change your development habits. Actually, quite the opposite. All it does, it takes your existing game and lets you run it under Yggdrasil platform. So as simple as it is, it actually turned out to be extremely powerful, because all of a sudden we are not needed in the overall process, because studios can take care of full development life cycles themselves, from game idea, game creation, game certification, and then we launch it. So it is sort of trying to tackle the problem in different way than GDK. As a consequence of that, the beauty of this is that it actually lets you integrate your entire portfolio of existing games quite easily. So it's not like we're getting new studio and they need to rewrite all the games to our standards. No, they just do some kind of a API on top of all the existing games, and they can launch it on our platform. So, and as Björn said, we take care of all the regulatory requirements, all the boring stuff, as we say, and studios can focus on making great games. And yeah, I think this is all about it.
Given what you and Bjorn have both said about the openness and accessibility of Gatti, and forgive me as an outsider asking this question, but I feel it's relevant. Is there any risk that developers all using the same tools to produce games will end up with products that perhaps look and feel the same?
Okay. No, it's not a problem at all. Exactly for the reason I mentioned before. Gatti is not a GDK. It doesn't force you any type of game design, game behavior. It is just the adapter that lets you run your game, your IP under our platform. So you can create any kind of game you want. Of course, there are some high level limitations, but I think so far we haven't really had a game that we couldn't create.
So, Chris Ash, coming to you, are they right? How easy is it to integrate with Gatti?
No, they are right. Yes, let's just leave it there.
That doesn't help me at all. That kind of answer is not helpful.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, in terms of the variety of the gaming content that it can support, to go there first, yeah, that's absolutely correct. There aren't any rules and regulations or other people's abstractions that you need to adhere to. It's got the maximum flexibility in terms of what the individual developer wants to do and what they want to do with their creative process. You can implement what you want to implement, which means that Masters as a platform will have a huge variety of content on it, with lots of different approaches and lots of different skill sets and markets, etc. And if you want me to sort of put some colour on some of the other benefits that have already been talked about, I can.
I would, because I think it's valuable to have a different perspective. So yes, please.
Yeah, I mean, the IP is obviously a big thing. Where in the model where you need to teach somebody else's developer how your game runs, and walk them through your specifications, not only does it take longer for that process to unfold, but you are walking someone else through your secret sauce as you do it. So if in the Gatti model you aren't doing that, so you've encapsulated just pragmatically, you've encapsulated your IP more effectively. And a lot of the more complex and innovative games, and from our perspective, we're always trying to do something that's different and interesting and hasn't been done before, and being able to demonstrate that. Those are the things that you don't want to be teaching everybody else, because that is your intellectual property and your core ideas. And then that obviously you're in control of your own timelines because you are doing the development yourself, which means there's less back and forth and interaction. So there's less touch points because it's clear what we need to deliver, and we can run our own timelines in order to do so. So there's a huge benefit there too. That's
quite interesting that you say that. It makes Yggdrasil sound quite hands-off during the process.
It just means that once we've understood the tool sets and what we need to do and what we need to deliver, we can get on and do it, and then come back at there's less points in the project where you need to have full understanding of what's happening, and the documentation is very good. So a thing that probably hasn't necessarily been mentioned yet is the number of test cases. There's a tremendous amount of test cases and automated tests in the suites as well, which is a huge benefit to somebody trying to deliver a piece of content into such a complex, multi-jurisdictional regulatory environment. Because a lot of that thought process has already been done for you, which does speed you up.
I just got to say, I'm so happy to hear this, because when me and there's not a person that was involved in this. It was Stuart McCarthy that was part of the YG Master discussion we had previously or yesterday, another podcast. And when we, he had his history and sitting on the aggregator side before, and he knew the pain points there of being a bottleneck, and discussions with them saying, I don't want to reveal my math models or how my algos work or so forth, which you need to do when you're matching server and math, matching game server and math. So he said, can we, so this was kind of like what you're mentioning now was solving your problem or making, this was the stuff that we said, for us to scale masters, we need to solve these things. And we said that solving, we set that kind of a bullet list to Krzysztof, and we said, this is, and we discussed it in senior management and the other people involved in the tech team. We said, this is what we need to solve. Otherwise, there's no point of doing it. So from proof of concept to that was it. And the Gatti seems to be working, and in a fairly short period of time. We started to talk about this in February, like last year. So
yeah, it's
rolled out. Everyone is using it.
It's very impressive how quickly it's all come together,
and
how sophisticated the actual tools are. And we haven't even talked about Boost integration. That on its own is quite that's another area of complexity that is abstracted out for the developer.
Yeah.
Camille, I think it might be time to see what you've managed to achieve in the very small time that we've allowed for you to produce this game. So if in just an hour, Gatti has delivered the goods. So if you want to take over for a minute or two, that works for me.
Yeah, let's see how much I need. So basically, that's the game, all hooked up. And basically, we can flip the coin in the most basic way. So this is how we win. Actually, the Yggdrasil logo wins us some money. If we get the star, we don't win, but we only win this time. So here what you can see is basically that my balance is real. It's so the wallet management is taken care of by the Gatti platform. The possible bet amounts that I'm right now scrolling through, I configure them on inside the game server, and then the currency exchange is taken care of. It's by the platform. So if I change to yens or something like that, the game will reload. The currency is formatted correctly, and we have completely new set of currencies, all taken care of by Gatti platform. We also have, you can see how we have an autoplay implemented. So we can play automatically, but this feature isn't supposed to be enabled on every market. So if I were right now to simulate, let's say, Finnish market, so then you will see after the game loads that the auto spin button is gone. And right now we're emulating Finnish market. So also, you've just seen another feature that is simplifying debugging a lot. We call it the launcher. It basically shows, it runs your game and it gives you ability to try your game with different users, with different licenses, currencies, languages, etc. Because Partner Connect and Gatti platform is helping you with lots of this stuff. If I had more time, I would show you how we can use some translation strings, how I would use some persistency. But basically, this is it for today. I want to show you my code editor for just a second. So the game server, I chose Node and JavaScript to build it. And you can see I basically wrapped it all up within 100 lines of code. It's really not that much. I mean, the game itself, the game logic is just a couple of lines of code, like 5 maybe. Everything else is Gatti requirements. But as I scroll through for the more technically inclined of you, you will see that all of this code is really trivial. I would say it's a basic boilerplate, and it's really not that much to build a basic game. I would say for game server, 100 lines, 2 hours, and not much more for the game client, and you're good to go. And then, of course, there are more complex features on top of it. Like our platform supports replays, restores, and many more advanced features. So that is on top of that. That has to be learned. But just to kick it off, just to get on the platform, to start developing with our tools, it's really not much. And this is what I try to prove with this simple game live coding exercise. So what do you think?
Great stuff.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I think Yggdrasil's going to launch a currency. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bjorn, you want to speak?
Awesome. I was just wanted to make a comment. I mean, I think the audience will feel it as we feel it.
I think it's worth mentioning. Of course, this is super simple example, but when studios are integrating their engines, it's not taking so much longer. I mean, Chris, maybe you can tell us how long it took to integrate first game, and what is your experience in general when it comes to timeline?
I think it was pretty smooth. I think obviously with any platform that you're learning the ropes on, particularly one that's got so many sophisticated features in it, you need to build in some time to learn them all. But once the benefits of that when you're up and running is that, as Camille's just demonstrated, you've got a sandbox that you can write code into, and a lot of the layers around it are abstracted, so you'd expect it to go quickly. Yeah, I mean, depending on the complexity of your game engine, of course, you're talking in weeks rather than months to deliver something. And if you've already got some code that you've written, the system supports it, which is another huge benefit. And well done, Camille. That's it's an impressive demo.
And yes, thanks again to Camille, especially given the added pressure of having your CEO on the call. Thanks so much. Thanks to Chris Ash from For The Player for joining us. And finally, thanks again to Fred, Bjorn and Christoph for taking the time to chat to us today. It's been very enjoyable. Have a great day. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Cheers, Chris.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Adios, amigos. Ciao, ciao, ciao.